Okay, so for our technical report number 3, the laboratory report rather, it is entitled Calculation of Propeller Forces. So same format as the one you used for the report number 2. Again, the guidelines are all in red. And for this report, it would include figures, graphs, and tables. So always make sure to put proper labels to avoid deductions. And again, all formulas must be centered. And if you must consult references, preferably in APA format, then yeah, stick with the outline of the activity using the font and the paper size given. And yeah, same as before, in PDF pa din, and yung file name na gagamitin is your surnames pa din. For this one kasi, I combined yung report number 3 and 4. So what I want to see when you submit the report number 3 is kasama siya same file, but the last page. So the last page that I would be seeing sa inyong report number 3 is your report number 4. Okay? So matidiscuss ko naman yan as we go through. Okay? So this particular activity has a great connection sa ating report number 2. So for our first part, which is the drag represented by D, we have this formula right here. Okay, hold on. I'll try to highlight it. Okay, sorry. So we have this formula right here. Okay, where the CD is, it will be coming from your report number 2, part 20, which is the drag coefficient. Tapos, yung density natin is always in sea level conditions, standard sea level conditions, and your S will be coming from your report number 2 then, part 18, which is the lift. Then the V per station would be coming from your report number 2 as well, part 17, yung inyong helical velocity. And using this formula, you would be able to get the value of D per station. So the value of D should be always in pounds. Okay? Now, for the second part, we have the drag versus station curve. So you just have to plot a graph showing a curve na nagsho-show ng relationship between the drag with respective stations. So that's it. Since you had your drag naman na right here, the values. So just plot it against the respective stations. Now for the resultant force, you would be using this formula right here, where your R is of course the resultant force, which is in pounds, and the L is the lift, which would be coming from your report number 2 then, part 18, and yung D is of course your drag from the part 1 dito. Okay, so using this formula, you would be able to get the value of the resultant force. So simple as that, per station. Okay, so yeah, you would just be pasting this photo right here, this diagram. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, going back. Again, just paste this diagram. So now for the part 4, which is the lift, the drag ratio, the lift coefficient and the drag coefficient versus the station. So I would be saying, you have values na for these so I would be seeing this graph. Make sure na it includes the proper legend. So, you may use respective colors that would represent yung ating curves for the lift to drag ratio, for the lift coefficient, and the drag coefficient. So, this is just a sample graph. So, ganito yung format na gusto kong makita. Okay? So, that is it for the part 4. Now, we have the computation of y, which is our fifth part. So, for this one, you would be using itong, itong formula na to for y. Okay. So, the value of y must be in degrees. So, that's why minultiply natin siya dyan. Then, of course, yung CD is yung drag coefficient from report to part 20. Then, yung CL is the lift coefficient from report to part 16. So, that would be all for the fifth part, the computation of y. Okay, going back, we now reach the sixth part, which is the thrust per station. So you would be using naman this formula, where R is your resultant force, as you may remember, part 3 of this activity, and your beta will be coming from your report number 2, part 13, actual blade angle. Okay? Or is it part 14? Basta it is the actual blade angle, and your y will be coming from the this section, this part of the same activity, report number 3 pa din. Then, if you have na your t, the next part would be to construct a graph. Again, this is just a sample graph. I would need you to construct a graph showing the relationship between the thrust per respective station. So that's pretty much it. And as you can see, hindi 0, 0 yung kanyang origin. Bakit? Kasi we are assuming na yung origin natin is the center of our hub to help us na din sa later computation natin. Okay? So, yeah, that's it. So, again, same din for this one. Hindi din siya sa 0, 0 originate. Now, for the 8th part naman, propeller thrust for one blade, I would need to see, as you may see, pareho lang yung graph. But for this one, you would need to get the area under each station by, wait lang. Okay, going back, you would be getting the area under each station. So, itong curves na to. So, to do that, let's say, let's switch it to pen. You will draw a line, there. Let's assuming na, yan, na straight. Then, for station 2, put a line. Then, ano yung area na kailangan natin? Itong area under nila. Ito, mga yan. Per station. So, get the area under each station using what? The mass properties. Using this graph ng ating thrust versus station. Okay. So, yeah. Now, for, yan, makukuha na natin yung pretty much, okay, sorry. So, for this part, pretty much, ang gusto ko lang makita is yung area under the curve na with respective stations. So, for the ninth part naman, which is the propeller thrust for two blades, Okay, switch ulit natin siya ng highlighter. So, you would be using this formula. Then, you would be getting the value of the thrust for two blade. So, simple as that. Now, for the cord load, we have this formula wherein cord load is represented by Q and R is so kindly ano na lang this one tawag dito disregard since ano naman naka degrees naman siya pareho, so as you utilize this formula hindi nyo naman na kailangan i na convert pa siya to radians, so kindly disregard this one. So yung R natin dito is from part 3 of this activity, resultant force. Then yung beta again is, yeah, part 14 nga siya, correction, kasi kanina 13 yung nakalagay. So part 14 siya, yung actual lead angle. And Y is yung we'll be coming from the part 5 of this activity. So you would be getting the value of cord load per station in pounds. So now, hold on a second. We reached the 11th part, which is the cord load versus station. Okay, going back. For the 11th part, which is the cord load versus the station. So, ang ilalagay niyo dito sa A is yung from the part 11, yung area under nung curve na 'di ba kanina. Where is it? This one. Yeah, the area na pin-reject natin, 'di ba siya pababa, then we got the area na makukuha niya using yung mass prop. So, yeah, and the R raised to 3 would be coming from this formula. Now that you have your A na, and the radius will be coming from your report number 2 ng blade station. So, once you have your A and your R raised to 3, the units would be the units would be pounds and inches squared rather, sorry. So, ayun, you have your A na and R. So, for this graph, you would be using the application of this one dito sa ating next part, which is the torque at each station. Okay? So, 'di ba we have na yung A and yung A natin kanina, which is the area under. Tapos, yung ating R is yung centroidal distance from CL. So, ito yun. Yan. Again, kanina na-mention ko na kaya hindi 0, 0 yung origin is we're assuming na yung origin natin is at the center of the hub. So, mako-consider pa din natin yung distances niya. So, yan. Simple as that. Okay. For you to get Q, for this one, you would be using your individual area, then yung centroidal distance. Then you would get the Q in terms of inches pounds. Okay? And now that you have that, we may proceed to the 13th part, which is the propeller torque for one blade. You would just be adding all of the values of Q from station 0 to station 8. So, basically, summation lang yan. And for us to get the propeller torque for two blades, you would just be multiplying it into 2, whatever value that you would be getting sa 13 part. So, that is the end of the report number 3. So as I've told you before, I have here the instruction for the report number 4. So I would be seeing na yung final drawing since you have naman na the dimensions. So that's why inalter ko din yung report number 2 kasi parang redundant na if gagawin nyo na siya for the report number 2 and gagawin nyo pa rin siya for the final drawing. So, final drawing nilang gagawin. Okay? So, these are the instructions. So, I would be seeing these views and the scale is 1:1 and the paper size is of course A4. Apply pa din yung ating format pero naka-landscape lang siya. So, again, submit this together with the report number 3 na file. So, siya yung pinaka-dulo. And that is pretty much it for the lab report number 3 and number 4.